Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Keen Katie Jean. My name is Katie and this is my first official tutorial. I started doing watercolor a little over a year ago, and so I still consider myself to be a beginner, and I'd love to kind of take you on that journey with me. So let's get started with today's project. I am doing floral watercolor. I'm using Beam paint stones. These things are incredible. The first is Fireweed. The second is Mars Violet. The third color I'm using is Spring Green. The fourth color I'll be using is Pine. And lastly, I used Violet. I really love Beam Paints. They are a woman, Indigenous owned company in Canada. She makes all of these paints handmade, and they are excellent. They are so highly pigmented, so fun to work with, and I've used these paint stones for weeks already, and it seems like they haven't even gone down. Like I can tell they're just going to last forever. They are so beautiful. Everything in the paints is ethically sourced and plastic free, and I just really highly recommend them. So first thing I'm going to start off with is quite a lot of the violet shade. I'm going to make a pretty highly concentrated circle on the paper. I usually do about 3, maybe 4 or 5. It depends on the size of your paper. Start off with quite a high concentration, and then I'm going to grab a bigger fluffy brush with clean water, and I'm just going to pull out that pigment to the outsides to make petals. And the thing with watercolor flowers is that you don't have to be perfect or have perfect shapes, because it's going to look different when it dries. It's going to look so cool when all the pigment kind of melds together and flows out. And flowers in nature don't have perfect shaped petals either, so your petals don't have to be perfect shapes. You can just put as much or as little pigment as you want. Once you pull out some of that pigment with the clean water, I like to always add a little bit of extra in the center just to give it that beautiful kind of darker look that goes from dark to light from the center to the outside of the flower. So I'm adding a little bit of extra of the violet in the centers. And you can just see how it's flowing out really nicely, giving those that look of like the veins in the petals. It just looks so, so pretty. So next thing I'm going to do is take the pine color, and I'm going to start adding the leaves and the stems. And if you touch a little bit of the flower with the green stem, it's going to blend really nicely into the flower and just look so beautiful. So don't worry if, you get some blending of the colors. It's all going to look so great and pretty when it dries. It took me a while to learn how to do leaves. I finally just learned, the more irregular it feels, the better it's going to look. 'Cause that's how leaves look in nature. They're just naturally very irregular, especially when they're like a little bit dried out. They're curled up, and I usually look at reference photos to kind of see and just if there's anything I can do to make them look more realistic. But yeah, basically just put some regular shapes down. Composition is something I'm still working on, making sure that my photo is balanced and that it's, pleasing to the eye. I'm then using the spring green, which is like a yellow-green color. I like to add that in after the darker color. I know some people do it the other way. They do the lighter color first and then add the darker color with their leaves. But I actually like to do it the opposite way. I like how the yellow looks once it's added to the green, and it kind of once again makes that natural vein look of the leaves kind of stand out. It's just a personal preference. You can choose to do what you like, experiment and see what you prefer. But I love this spring green color. It's so pretty. It's such an interesting, it's right in between that yellow and green, and it's so, I don't know, just makes me happy when I look at it. That's part of the reason I love painting so much. And so then I'm going to take the Mars Violet, which is like a reddish brown, reddish brownish purple. It's hard to describe. It's a really, really amazing color. It's got, it's very highly pigmented, and it can be used for so many different things depending on the concentration you use it in. So I'm just doing like a mug that's holding my flowers, and I'm putting a higher concentration on the outsides of the mug as an outline. And then I'm going to take that that water cup that I have sitting next to me, and I'm going to just get some clean water, and I'm going to kind of blend it out into the cup to kind of make it look like there's, water inside. It kind of adds natural highlights when you put more pigment on the outside, because the mug is rounded, so you definitely need those highlighted areas in the middle of the mug. Once again, I'm a beginner, so I'm not an expert. These are just little things that I've picked up doing watercolor over the last, year or so. And so if you're watching this and you're like a watercolor expert and you're probably like, oh my goodness, she's like awful, that's fine. I'm learning. I'm still learning. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start posting my videos, so people that are also just learning watercolor don't feel intimidated, because it can be a very intimidating, art in general is a very intimidating thing. And right now I'm just adding some of the Mars Violet in the middle for the middle areas of the flowers. And then just to add some color, and then I'm adding a little shadow area. But yeah, the point of my channel, I want people to know that it doesn't have to be intimidating to do art. You can do it just because you love it and it relaxes you, and just for your own enjoyment and edification. It doesn't have to be good, but it will be better and better the more you practice. So yeah, I just hope that you find some enjoyment in watching this, and hopefully some enjoyment in doing it yourself. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I dried this first because the flowers have to be dry. And then I kind of wanted to add like oh, there's my kitty getting in the way. I think he tries to lick one of the paints at one point. Get out of here, kitty cat. I'm adding just like a little drop of liquid coming out of the cup there, just to kind of make it look like the water ran over. It looks kind of cool, I think, and it's just a fun little thing you can add or leave out. And next I'm going to use the Fireweed, which is one of their mica paints. Is ethically sourced mica. It's so full of sparkle. I absolutely love using these mica paints of theirs for just the special little details towards the end of a painting. It really makes a huge difference. So I'm just adding some petal details right now with that, and it's hard to see right now, but that's really going to sparkle, especially once it dries. Just kind of do a few little strokes here and there. You don't want too many. That's something I struggle with, is sometimes I just keep going and I don't know when to stop. That's pretty typical problem I have with watercolor in general, is not knowing when to stop. And so sometimes things look overworked, but that's just something that comes with time and practice. There are times I really like what I did, and then other times I look at it and I go, oh, I should have stopped 5 minutes ago. But that's okay. It's all, every time you paint, it's all just a learning experience. And it's, as long as you enjoyed yourself and had some fun while you were participating in that learning experience, that's the most important thing. So there I added, just that little bit of sparkle, and you're going to see when it dries how it just really pops and makes the flowers look like they're in the sunshine. So I really like adding that towards the end. They have quite a few of the sparkly mica paints in different shades, and I got a full set of these paint stones because I just couldn't decide. It was well worth the money. They are incredible. Highly recommend looking into beam paints. They have paints that are inside of shells. They have paints that are inside cut pieces of wood. They're all ethically sourced. I mean, it's just a really, really amazing company. You can see how it's sparkling in the sunshine now as I turn the paper. It's just a really, really just soothing, fun painting. I do these flowers in all kinds of colors. They always make me happy to do. So I think that it's a really, really good place to start if you are trying to get into watercolor florals, specifically loose watercolor florals. As you saw, I did not do a sketch beforehand. I just did it loosely, and this is the easiest and kind of most relaxing way I've found to do this. So let me know if you try this yourself. Share pictures. I'd love to see if you are a beginning watercolorist as well. Let's be friends and go on this journey together. It is just something that I really enjoy and really love, and I hope to share that passion and love with all of you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day.